Hello, I'm Bret Knowles from PM2 Consulting. This YouTube quickly walks you through how to implement OKRs, and we're going to explain it to you in the context of the Executive Suite. What is the Executive Suite? Well, the Executive Suite used to be a group of offices where the senior executives would hang out and do their work. Now, in the new virtual organizations, the Executive Suite is in fact a suite of activities or modules that leadership has to do. And they fit into 6 broad categories. Leadership has to develop and execute strategy. They have to drill down and do that detailed execution, what happens in dashboards. They also are responsible for attracting, retaining, investing, and rewarding employees. They've got to do risk management, financial planning, and coach people how to run the business. Now, inside each of these, there's some specific details. So, for example, for strategy, it's all about discovering the strategy, whether it's documented or in leadership's head, making that explicit through things like strategy maps and weightings. And then if you add KPIs, you can create balanced scorecards and eventually cascade it across the organization. Now, that same strategy is going to inform what we do at this more detailed level. We need to understand and analyze how our processes and projects support the execution of those strategic goals. From there, we can identify where we need to drill down KPIs, and also assess the alignment between our strategic initiatives and the strategic gaps in our performance. Now, these drill down KPIs allow us to build out things like objectives and key results, self-managed work teams, and employee engagement, all of which are components of reward and compensation. Now, leadership also can take the strategy map to create strategic risk registers and strategic risk scorecards. So now the risks are put into strategic context. And these elements work together to allow us to build better agile or driver-based plans, which will inform things like the reward and compensation model. And of course, finally, coaching. So the OKRs are just a theme or a string of what leadership does. So in this case, it's strategy to the strategy map, to the processes and projects, to the KPIs, to objectives and key results. So let's take a look at the key steps in doing this. So the strategy map is straightforward. The strategy map is just a diagram of our strategic objectives and explains the cause and effect relationship between them. This codifies the strategy and helps everyone understand where the strategy comes from and how to operate within it. Next, we need to do some strategic performance analysis. What that looks like is we take the strategy map and we list next to it the key processes or departments in the organization. And from there, we can find out which processes have the highest impact on each of those strategic objectives. In doing this, which we call the ontology, we can also find out where the natural teams are, which departments or processes have to work together to enable success. From here, we can add in our available KPIs. So now we have the objectives and key results. Fairly straightforward. And all we now need to do is enable that. So an example might be, as we move forward, to be able to show a team's objectives, how far they're progressing with them, and how they're currently performing. And because we've done this in this build-up fashion, like a salmon, we can swim upstream and see how we're doing on our overall strategy by aggregating those OKRs. So there's a quick review of how we implement OKRs in the context of the Executive Suite.